The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Here with another spring sports season preview. We are joined by the head coach of the South Range Raiders softball team, Jeff DeRose, coming back again for another year under the helm of the Raiders. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate you asking me to be on.
You got it. And when we look at this, before we start talking about this season and all the excitement for the Raiders, let's just have a little recap of last year and some of the lessons that you think can be taken from everything the last year's team was able to accomplish into all your returning starters and your returning players that bring it into this year.
Yeah, so last year we had a really talented senior class. 3 of the 4 went on to play at the next level, and quite honestly, Jamie Farron, who did not go on to play in the next level, could have. So we had a very, very talented senior class. We set our sights on the regional tournament when we start the season, and we ended up getting there. It was a tough road to get there, but I mean that's what we really set our goal every year, and so we ended up getting there. But it's those seniors that had a huge impact on the way the rest of the kids played. Julie, Sam Kelly, and Jamie, fantastic ball players, and going into the returning starters that you had mentioned for this year. So, we've had a 5th player that was a starter last year that decided not to play, Madison Dado. She's running track this year to be with her sister. So we're pretty much a brand new team. We're putting 5 new players on the field who don't really have a whole lot of high school softball experience. So, however, I think we're still very, very talented. And we got our sights set right back on the regional tournament again this year.
When you talk about South Range over the years, you always talk about pitching, and you guys have not had a pitcher not go on to play in college since, I believe, 2010, if my memory serves me, in the circle. So I guess the question is, what's next in the circle? Now that you graduate 2 really good ones, who's going to be next in the circle for the Raiders?
Well, right now, if I were to put a starting lineup in the field, Jaylee Wilt would be my number 1 go-to pitcher. She works hard. She got some innings last year and did quite well, and she's doing quite well this year. We've had 3 scrimmages, and she started all 3, and it's time to get her back, to 7-inning form right now. She's only pitched the maximum of 4, but we got a scrimmage on Friday against West Branch. She'll go there. Who knows how long she's going to go? But before we leave for our Myrtle trip, we have three games. Jaylee will get some work, and obviously when we get down to Myrtle and we're playing every day, I'm going to have to rely on other pitchers. And we got some really good sophomore pitchers. Selena DeJesus, Addison Wardle, and Ashley Rupert all can throw the ball well. So it's nice to have a whole bag of pitchers to go to when you need to. And it's a lot of teams don't have the luxury of having to be able to switch pitchers because they don't have anybody, they're not as deep as we are at pitching. So I guess we're fortunate, this year and over the last several years, we've been fortunate on the mound.
The stat I threw out, that doesn't happen without, the ability to bring up a new pitcher that, isn't as varsity experienced as what maybe a senior that left before. You've been doing that for a while. What's your philosophy in bringing on a new pitching staff and new pitchers that are new to this whole varsity, starter routine, and getting them up to speed and getting them ready to go and compete at the high level that you guys play at?
Yeah, I mean it's just exactly that. It's putting them to the test, and we scrimmage good teams on purpose, and we play good teams on purpose. And we're willing to take bumps in the road. Wins are great, but losses are learning experiences. These girls are going to be put to the test. We're not looking for wins. We're just looking to get better for the tournament at the end of the year. But if I were to answer that question, bluntly, in the sense that they have to be on the same page as their catcher and Don Farron, who's he calls our pitches, and Don's got a hard job because one of our pitchers is a lefty. So we have certain locations that we hit, certain spin pitches that we do, and Don, sometimes it makes me laugh. He gets confused. I used to call pitches back in the day, and when I asked him to take that over, he took it over with open arms, and I don't want to back because it gets a little difficult at times.
All right, Don, left, right. Here we go. When you think of the rest of your roster, I know you lost a good senior class last year, but you also had young kids that stepped up on the biggest stage and got you big plays in the biggest games of the season. What does it mean to bring back that kind of experience as well?
It's actually an awesome luxury to have. And I told this year's team when we started out the season, our seniors, like I said before, were fantastic, and they got us to where we were, in a sense. But when we got into the regional tournament and we had two really, really difficult teams, and on paper, we were underdogs in both games. We played Tri-Way, who won the Division II state championship, and then Champion, who has a history of tremendous softball teams and great coaching. But it wasn't the seniors that won those games, in a sense that, we had returning players that this year that hit the ball to the fence last year and scored some runs for us. Namely Jaylee Wilt, Anna A. Kira Brogan she's a sophomore, did well, and Ashley Rupert, who was given the job as a DP at the end of the year, all hit the ball very, very well. And, we're expecting big things from them. And I can't forget, we call her FedEx, Gretchen Bartels is our only senior that's on the varsity, and she's doing well. And then we had a player hurt last year, Riley DeChancio, who hopefully will be able to pull her weight both offensively and defensively. And Giada Pauline's hitting the ball very well this season so far. And I took the bat out of her hands last year because she wasn't hitting, but very, very impressed with her turnaround at the plate this year.
Let's talk about your schedule. We'll start with the league, as we always do. The NE8, very tough. It usually comes down to you and Poland grinding it out, and every year it seems like those are the two rivalries. But then you also have very good teams in this conference that are always testing you. Lakeview is one of those teams last year that gave everyone a little bit of a scare. And when you look at the conference this year, what it's shaken out to be, what do you expect out of it, and what are you hoping to get out of it?
Well, exactly. You hit the nail on the head when you mentioned Lakeview. I mean, right now, I think that they're probably one of the strongest teams in the NE8. When we played them early on last year, we kind of had our way with them. I think we beat them 11-0, if I'm not mistaken. But at the end of the day, when we played them towards the end of the season, they got a heck of a lot better. And, they gave us fits. In fact, we played them out in Stowe last year for our second game because we couldn't just get the makeup in. And anyway, they're very, very good. And, not to discount any other teams. Hubbard's always puts a good team on the field. Poland, there's teams that are we're going to be very competitive league again this year, or conference. It's going to be tough to win it, but, hopefully we will. We have the ability to do so. And besides the NE8, and we schedule some very tough opponents like we do every year. Stowe, Talmadge, who won the Division II state championship last year. North Canton Hoover's coming to South Range this year. We go to the Priebus, and we have some, big D1 schools that we're playing. That's all on purpose to get better for the tournament.
And then, of course, you go to Myrtle Beach. We'll have to talk about that because it's going to be big on YSN. DJ Oakley will be down there with you guys and covering every one of your games down there. And
Yeah.
what's that trip always mean to you? We always ask it, and it's always kind of the same answer. But what's that trip mean to you guys this year? And what do you expect out of it this year?
Yeah, it's again, we're a very young team, and it's a great team building event for us. And I tell the parents, in fact, we're having our meeting this Thursday for Myrtle, and I tell the parents that the girls once they check in on Sunday, they're the coaching staff's responsibility all the way till the end of the game on Friday, and it's good for them because we kind of give them free reign to do some things within reason, and they love the freedom to be able to do that kind of stuff. And we went down to Myrtle Beach. I can't remember how many years. It's maybe 14 years we've been going down there. And not going to knock on wood. I'm a pretty superstitious person. I think we've never lost more than one game down there. And we've had great teams, we've had good teams, and average teams. And we always seem to play our best when we get down to Myrtle Beach.
I can confirm it was 14 years because it started my junior year.
So you're an old man.
With
Yeah.
the class of 11 that got you guys, I believe, to the first regional since 2001.
Yeah.
That year. So that's when it started. I'm old.
Yes, you are.
I'm getting there.
Yes, you
Coach,
are.
when you talk about having 3 games before that, how much of a blessing is that to not be able to just throw your kids into the shark pool of Myrtle Beach, have them at least have the 3 games here in town before you head over to, obviously really good competition down there in Myrtle?
Yeah, it's great because there's an opportunity for us to figure things out yet even more. I mean, 4 scrimmages. I mean, if I can have 14 scrimmages, I would. I think there's no better preparation and planning than actually playing. We can only practice so much, and we've been outside, and then all of a sudden we're back in the gym now, and it's very difficult to practice an outdoor sport indoors. But those 3 games we play before we get on to Myrtle, it'll be a more of a learning experience, not only for the players, but for the coaching staff. And, we're moving players from outfield to infield. We moved our shortstop to second base and back to shortstop. And, it's crazy what we learn over the course of live repetition and scrimmages. So I think by the time we get down to Myrtle, hopefully we get those 3 games in, it'll be us solidifying a better lineup to put on the field. So we're looking forward to it because when we go down there, quite frankly, Anthony, there's a lot of times we're playing teams that have 10 games under their belt already. Mm-hmm. And we've gone down there before with 0 games under our belt. Although we competed well, it's just you can tell we were working out the kinks and they were already a little bit fine-tuned and we weren't.
Coach, I want to give you the time to also talk about your coaching staff that you have with you and that makes this program what it is, what it's been for the last 14 years. Talk about the people that are with you, that are working with you, and the people that are carrying this program with you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about, my varsity assistants, Don Farron and I've been coaching together for a very long time, and we think alike. It's scary. Thank God we don't look alike, but we do think alike. And that's a dig on you, Donnie. But in any event, it's wonderful to be able to coach alongside somebody that thinks like you. So there's no arguing or bickering, especially in front of the players. And a couple of years ago, Melissa Starkey joined our staff as a volunteer. Brings a wealth of knowledge and experience playing for Akron University in her day, and has a very good rapport with the kids. She's wonderful to have. And, she brings that element that I don't bring. And I always like refer to myself, and not all the time, but as a soft coach in the sense that, I hear what the kids have to say and I try to reason. And Starkey usually puts me back into my place, which, is deserving in some regard. So it's wonderful to have her around. And then at the JV level, I got Drew Farron, and she's a new teacher over in Crestview School District. And I told her, when you're at school, please put your head down. Don't let the softball coaches see you, because I want you back. She does a wonderful job at the JV level. And then her assistants, Lauren Pavlansky and Sarah Durr. Pav comes from a family of coaches, and wonderful to be around. In fact, when Drew's not there, Pav takes over, no problems. And Sarah is second year coach. She's also a volunteer coach. She comes and it kind of lays the hammer down with the kids, just like a Starkey does for the varsity.
Sarah Durr laid the hammer down in basketball in her career, and I don't think there's anything that I am surprised to hear that she lays the hammer down as a coach as well. What's it like having a former player as well and Drew Farron come back to the program and help you guys coach?
Oh, it's great because she knows the system. I mean, we really haven't changed much at all since she's been around. I mean, we have fun and she joins in that. And in fact, we talk a lot. And she said, "You remember you used to tease me, you used to call me Bennett," and because she ran slow and I'd compliment some players and she'd look at me and laugh. She goes, "You never complimented me." And we would we would giggle and have fun around the kids. But at the end of the day, we're a very serious team. And although we mix business and pleasure, when we step on the field, it's all business. And Drew knows that. So,
Coach, last question for you before we let you go. Obviously, this program got to Firestone last year. It's the third time as a program you've been to the state tournament. You keep knocking on that door. I know you're all hungry for that final trophy. What's it mean to this program, though, to keep getting there and keep getting on that doorstep so that experience keeps getting put into these kids? Like, this is what it takes to get back to Firestone Stadium.
yeah, and I think that they know because a couple of them have been there a couple times already. Like Gretchen, she's been there. It's great because they know what it takes to get out of districts is no walk in the park. Especially this year, and when you get to the regional tournament, again, when we went there last year, we had two teams looking at us saying that, maybe they underestimated us. I don't know, but I can tell you this. We give every opponent the best that we have. And, we did last year. So, to get back to the state tournament, obviously regionals come first. And I always tell the team, get to the regional tournament because everybody is 0-0 again. You have no wins and losses, and neither do they. May the best team win. And it happened last year. Like I said, if you were looking at softball people who knew the programs, they would say, no way South Range has a chance to win these games. And, we did. And because we wanted it more possibly. And I think that this year may be no different.
I gotta tell you, Coach, those people that doubted you didn't know that you'd already been to the state tournament a couple of times and probably didn't watch you too much during the season.
Yeah. We got things in our back pocket sometimes, Anthony.
Yeah, this is how you do, Coach. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it so much, and we wish you the best of luck this season. We know we'll see you out there, and we can't wait.
Yep. Thank you.
That was South Range head coach Jeff DeRose leading the Raiders back to another year. We've talked a lot about that program in that interview. It's always a great opportunity to catch up with Coach DeRose. We joked about, like, when I was in high school, that's when that program really started to gain some traction. The years between 2001 and to 2010 were kind of dry for South Range. They weren't getting to the regional tournament. They weren't sniffing the regionals. 2010 comes along, and what my honest opinion, they had Madison Yannick, who's now Madison Kurtz, and a coach down there at Columbiana. When Jeff DeRose's daughter Carly came into the program as a freshman in 2010 and gave them that 1-2 punch, that was the difference maker. That was the one where you said, okay, we can throw Madison one day, we can throw Carly the next, and that got them to regionals 2 years in a row. In fact, the next year, Carly's sophomore year, they went to the regional finals. They were a breath away from getting to that state tournament. And, that's 2011. They had a couple of years where they either won a district or they were struggling to get out of districts. But then back in 2016, they go right back to state and they punch that door down. They break it down. They get to the state championship game. They lose to Wheelersburg in a pretty good softball game, 8-3. And then, 2017 comes around. They bring back everybody. I think that was a learning experience for the program on what it takes to consistently get to state. I think that was the year. If I had to point out one season that was most beneficial to where South Range is right now, and what they are doing so well to continuously get back to state time and time again now. Now, remember, 3 times since 2016. I think 2017 was a big learning experience, not just for the coaching staff. They didn't need too much learning experience there. They kind of knew, but for everyone on that team, and it's a trickle down mentality. So everyone that was watching that team, wanting to be on that team in the future, that 2017 season where they brought back all but one player, they graduated one senior when they went to the state championship. The expectations were heavy on their shoulders, right? We're getting back to state, and they didn't. They lost in districts. They lost in the district championship game to Mooney. Conchetta Rinaldi, I believe, was heading up that Mooney team, and she's now a senior at YSU. But that was the one year where they're okay. We get it. We're not guaranteed a spot just because we went to state last year. That doesn't happen. We have to continuously put in that grind. And I think everyone in that program started to learn that more and more. And then you go into, the next time they get to state and they get to the championship again, and then they get to state. They keep knocking on that door. Last year they got to the state semifinals, ran into Wheelersburg. They keep beating really perennial teams to get there. If people haven't learned yet that South Range deserves to be in that conversation in Division III, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they might not have the historic history that a champion has or a Keystone has, with obviously champion with 9 state championships and Cheryl Weaver, a Hall of Fame coach. Like maybe you can't stamp that on their program, but South Range is always in the regional conversation. They're won and gotten into state plenty of times since 2016. They're here and they're staying. So South Range deserves to be a part of that conversation. When they get into regionals, you're going to see probably Keystone and Champion and Triway and all these big name programs that have done great things. You're going to see those programs. Don't take South Range out of that conversation. I think last year they went into that regional with a little bit of chip on their shoulder because everyone was talking about these other programs as if South Range hadn't been to state 2 times up to that point. They hadn't been to 2 state championships, and they weren't that program right now. And they'd been to 5 more regionals since 2000. Outside of those 2 state tournament runs, they'd been to 5 other regional tournaments since 2010. So I think they were felt a little left out of that conversation last year, and they proved it. They beat the reigning Division II state champion. They beat Champion, who has all that pedigree and Division I players. They beat them. They got past those two. Now they might not have beaten Wheelersburg, but they keep knocking on that state championship door. Eventually, they're going to break it down. They need to be in that conversation. You can see right there on my wall. I mean, South Range, that was the first time they went to state. You can see it. I have the poster from it. This team has always meant a lot to me. It's where I went to high school. It's where I started to become a fan of softball, watching the classmates I had in 2010, 2011 go to regionals. It's just I want them a part of this conversation. I need them to be a part of this conversation. And the fact that they weren't last night made my heart a little bit happy last year when they were able to prove all the naysayers wrong and prove once again, like, we need to be in this conversation. Division III is very tough, and it's built with a lot of good programs that deserve to be in the conversation with South Range. But if South Range ain't in it, if you're not talking about South Range as a team that can win a regional, I don't know. Get with the program. It's time. They, like I said in that interview, and I'll say it again. I'll say it till people get tired of me saying it. 2010, that first year they went to regionals. Since then, they have not had a year where they have not had a college pitcher in the circle. And I can go down all of them. Madison Yannick, now Kurtz, Carly DeRose, Darian Yannick, Kerrigan Yannick. That whole family did a lot for them. Bree Kohler, Julie Stakowitz. I mean, it just keeps going. Sam Suzanne. It just keeps going and going and going. They have domination in the circle, and they grow them in the young age. They bring them in to that varsity level. And that's why I put a Facebook post out a little bit before the show. Better call Jaylee Welt. if you're a college coach, because it's inevitable, right? She's a class of 25. She's a junior. Maybe she hasn't gotten her varsity. You know what? She's pitching for South Range. She's going to be a college pitcher. It's inevitable at this point. Just call her up, say, hey, we want to look at you. We want to watch you this year, and get her on board, because the way that program develops pitching, and the way they actually, I want to give Don Farrett a big shout out, because I've said it before, if you have a good pitcher but no one that knows how to call pitches for them, that can be that can hold a pitcher back too. But he is really good at knowing what his pitchers are good at and calling them really well. I think Bree Kohler was an excellent example of that. When she started to develop that drop curve a little bit towards her senior season, and they started to call it and they started to use it to their advantage. That's good pitch calling right there. A lot of people would just, when they see Bree Kohler, they just stick to velocity and say that's what we're going to go with. But once she started developing pitches, he trusted that pitch just as much as she did, and he threw it and he called it, and it worked a lot. So pitch calling is important, and it's a lost art in high school softball. There are a lot of really good pitchers that I see outside of our area when we go into these regionals. We go into these districts now, because districts are going to be a lot bigger this year, that have really actually decent pitching. But I watch the pitch selection and the pitch calling, and I go, they're not helping them out. They're not calling the right pitch in that situation. And at this level, when they're high school kids, most of them aren't confident enough in their own ability to say, you know what, no, I want to throw this, and then throw the pitch that they know is going to work. I want to see that too. I want to see more IQ develop in softball, as a whole. We see it in all the really good programs, but I want to see that pitcher be able to say, you know what, this pitch has been working. I've seen this hitter. I know the holes in her swing. I'm going to throw this pitch because I know it's working. Hit catchers too. Love catchers that are able to call their own games, and to be able to see the IQ, work with the pitching coach to call out the holes in a swing, because nobody has a better perspective on the hitter and what they're doing than the catcher and pitcher. The coaches do a great job, but at the end of the day, they're off to the side in the dugout. They don't have the same view that the catcher and pitcher do of what a hitter is doing. So South Range has always really also been good at that. That's why I think their pitchers have been going on to the next level, because they're learning how to call pitches. They're learning how to be situational, because they have a good pitch caller to lean on. So, yes, love South Range, love their softball program. Always going to be a part of my heart, because I went there and I spent about 7 years of my life doing nothing but going to South Range softball. And of course, now I put on the Ysn hat, and I love all of our programs, and I go out and try to get to everybody in a season. But South Range will always be that place where when I go to South Range softball field and I sit right next to the dugout, it feels like home, because I spent so much time there for 7 years, just going to every single game. There weren't too many games I missed. I unfortunately never got to go to Myrtle Beach, because usually the South Range spring break didn't line up with my family's spring break with their work schedule. So unfortunately, I've still never been able to go to Myrtle Beach with them, but I've gone everywhere else. I remember leaving school early to go follow the bus to regionals back when I was in high school. So love talking to Coach DeRose. Can't wait to see what South Range puts together on the field. Some new faces, some faces that really made themselves known last year on that team as well. So can't wait to see what they have in the circle. Can't wait to see what they have on the field and with the offense. It's going to be a fun softball season in South Range. They have 3 games before they head to Myrtle Beach next week. They'll be home against Girard on Monday. They'll go to Girard on Tuesday, and then they'll play old NE8 rival Jefferson on Wednesday at home. A team that last year the NE8 was pretty dang competitive with South Range before they departed the NE8 last season. So that'll be their first 3 games, and they'll head down to Myrtle Beach. DJ Oakley will be on the call for all those Myrtle Beach games as well. So make sure to check that out on YSN. Softball season's supposed to start tomorrow, but it's raining. We have rain in the forecast all through the night, and it's supposed to be pretty cold tomorrow morning. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that something breaks, but it doesn't look like we're going to get too many too many games in tomorrow if the forecast stays where the way it's supposed to go. We're going to take a break and be back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
From on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Sheely's is more than a furniture store. We're a hub for all of your appliance needs. We offer the widest selection at everyday low prices, with over $1 million of in-stock inventory from Whirlpool, KitchenAid, LG, GE, and more. Our knowledgeable, no-pressure sales staff can help you find the perfect appliances for your home. We're there for you beyond your purchase to service what we sell and offer free local delivery with 24-month special financing. Sheely's, the best things in life happen at home.
House troubles can attack anytime. When trouble strikes, call Mighty Mike. Your hometown hero is on his way. HVAC causing havoc? Has your furnace gone mad? Mighty Mike Heating and Cooling will save the day. Commercial or residential, 24/7. For quality service you can depend on, call your hometown hero. Call Mighty Mike.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
Welcome back to this Friday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. You heard from them in the break. Going to go ahead and put their logo in the top right-hand corner of the screen so you know where to go. If you are in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure to check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you so you don't have to. And we try to do the same here on this show every single day and follow our great sponsors' lead by going the extra mile for you. One of the ways we do that, of course, is our interviews. We had Jeff DeRose featured on today's show, the head coach of the South Range softball team. We thank him for his time and giving us a good, solid season preview of South Range. They're going to start their season on Monday at home against Girard. They'll have the Girard NE8 series Monday and Tuesday. They will play at home against Jefferson on Wednesday, and then they will leave for Myrtle Beach, where they will have the best competition that you can possibly have down there in the South Carolinas. It's a Friday. We want to welcome you into Running Point. We had one score come in from last night, and it was lacrosse. One reported score, I should say, with stats and things like that. Mooney girls lacrosse got the win over Poland to go 2-0 on the season. It was 19-7 the final score. Mooney got the win. Future college standout Ellis Alley had 9 goals for the Cardinals, 2 assists, and 9 draw controls. Angelique Blasco had 3 goals, 4 ground balls. Natalie Blasco had 2 goals and an assist. And then Maria Pecchia had 2 goals as well. Sophia Rotuno was a force on defense, 6 caused turnovers, 8 ground balls, 2 goals, and an assist for her. And then Frankie Cassis had 1 goal. Alyssa Ray, 7 saves inside the goal as the goalie for Mooney Lacrosse. They will return to action on Tuesday and play at home against Canfield. 6:30 start time there. Mooney Lacrosse. We had Tony Shaheen. We had a player coach's corner happen with her. You can find it on ysnlive.com, and a team that is really ahead of schedule. They were a team last year that had a lot of players that were just kind of picking up the lacrosse stick and trying to learn the sport, and they excelled exponentially more than you'd expect a team with that experience level to do. They had a great season. Now they're trying to build on even that and say, hey, this year, how do we get our lacrosse IQ up? IQ, I should say, up? How do we continue to grow as a team and put our players in even better situations to win? Goal number 1 for them, Tony Shaheen has said it, is to be the best lacrosse team in the area. And I think the one hurdle they're going to have to jump is Canfield on Tuesday. I think that's a big one for them. They already beat Boardman and Poland in back-to-back games. They have Canfield on Tuesday. Canfield was a really good lacrosse team last year as well. They had a deep tournament run. So that's going to be a big game on Tuesday at 6:30 in Mooney, in Youngstown, for Canfield versus Cardinal Mooney in girls lacrosse. Boardman boys lacrosse also won last night. Going to get the final score for you real quick. Boardman boys beat Mooney 15-5 in their lacrosse game last night, so we want to congratulate them for that success as well. So we have spring sports going, that's for sure. We had the Howland boys volleyball obviously on the network on Tuesday, so they're going, and now we're just waiting for baseball and softball to get into. Now let's go over some postseason awards that were announced. Ysn Live _wrestling just announced our wrestlers of the year, the postseason awards for wrestling. Boys Wrestler of the Year is Keegan Sell. Congratulations. No surprise there. A state champion. You're going to get Wrestler of the Year. Girls Wrestler of the Year, also a state champion out of East Liverpool, Micaiah Newland. Congratulations to her. We have the Boys Freshman of the Year, and it is Brayton Feister from Archbishop Hoban. He had a great freshman campaign. Girls Freshman of the Year, Ella Thomas, who went undefeated the whole regular season and finished 4th in the state. Congratulations to her. And then we have the Coach of the Year. It goes to East Liverpool's Jeremy Shaw. Congratulations to him. And then the Team of the Year is going to be Salem. Salem Wrestling gets Team of the Year for our YSN Wrestling Postseason Awards. So congratulations to those. Go over to YSN Live _wrestling on Instagram or Twitter to see those graphics and see those announcements. We will also try to get little pieces of content up on the website about those postseason award winners as well. So we congratulate them. Let's check in on March Madness. How are your brackets doing? Mine was doing really, really good until Kentucky lost last night. That one was the first big blow to my bracket, which I shouldn't be surprised. You look at Kentucky, they have been struggling in the tournament the last several years. I don't know why I bought into them this year, kind of kicking myself for it. But every year they just have these really impressive, talented freshmen that you think are going to be it, and they haven't been showing up in the tournament lately. So I bought into it, and I paid for it last night when they lost to Oakland out of the Horizon League, someone that we're very familiar with because they play YSU quite a bit in the Horizon League. Right now, Northwestern and FAU are playing each other, and this is a game that I had Florida Atlantic winning. They're down by 4 with 13-15 to go in the game in the second half. You can also check out Colgate and Baylor. This one, 20-point game at halftime. Baylor with the lead. Other than that Kentucky game, though, my bracket's still really looking good. Really looking good. That's an Elite Eight team I lost, but that's okay. At least I didn't lose the Final Four. When I'm looking at some of the other games that went down, Auburn got the big win. That was good. I thought Illinois, I have them going quite far, so I was happy to see that they looked pretty good last night. I think they're really underrated. So Illinois got the win. Of course, Iowa State, a lot of people, if they're not picking UConn or Houston, Iowa State seems to be the third most popular choice for a national championship. They looked really good last night as well. The biggest one for me, though, was Michigan State. Like, I was so happy they won because I have them upsetting North Carolina in the second round tomorrow. So that's going to be one that I will have a lot of eyes on tomorrow, because I think that's going to be one that will also get me a lot of points in these bracket polls, because I don't think a lot of people have North Carolina losing in the second round. So if that gets a win for me, then obviously that would be a good thing for myself. And then the women's tournament starts pretty soon too. So can't wait for that. I have South Carolina winning the women's tournament this year. Dawn Staley doing a great job with that group. And they just had a really good matchup with LSU where they just looked head and shoulders, I think, above everyone else. You know, obviously Caitlin Clark is the best player in the tournament, hands down, but I don't think Iowa is the best team. I think South Carolina is the best team, and I think they're going to prove it. I have them winning. Hard to pick against UConn, although they're a 3 seed this year, not the typical 1 seed that you see out of UConn. But I still have them going far because it's really hard to pick against Gino Auriemma and Paige Beckers and company. So I'm excited to watch the women's game and the men's games keep going on. Like I said yesterday, it's the best time in all of sports for March Madness. I believe that. Like, there's nothing better than watching basketball from noon to midnight on Thursday and Friday. And especially when I was in school, like I said yesterday, like sneaking out of class to try to catch a glimpse of these games. Once again, not the best role model. Don't sneak out of class. Do your work. But, trying to find the right teacher that would put the game up on the TV. That was always fun times for me in middle school and high school. So brings back a lot of memories every time March Madness comes around. So I hope you're enjoying March Madness. Before we go, though, we're gonna shout out what the schedule looks like for tomorrow. As I said, the weather doesn't look great. You look at Storm Tracker 21; they're forecasting a bit of rain overnight. Plus, it's supposed to be colder than you would play in tomorrow morning. But we still have games that are on the schedule that we're gonna shout out that are right now, as of now, I should say, happening tomorrow. And here's the ones that are still, as of now, green on the schedule and happening. Well, we will keep you very up to date on cancellations. We're staying on top of it. We're getting some emails as we speak right now. But as of right now, these games are happening tomorrow. Howland at Cardinal Mooney, which will be at Scene Park Field 2. That one's going to be on the network tomorrow if it happens 11 a.m. We have Springfield and Lowville at Scene Park Field 3. That one's going to be on the network. Matt Marr will be on the call for that one. TJ Oakley going to be on the call at Scene 2, by the way. We have Dover at Louisville. Rob Johnson going to be on the call for that one. It's scheduled 1 o'clock. Columbiana versus Norwayne at Walsh University. Joe Eusebio going to be on the call there. Crestview and Struthers on scene 3. Matt Marr will be there for that one. And then at 4 o'clock, St. Edwards versus Cardinal Mooney. DJ Oakley will be on the call for that one. We go into softball games that are canceled, and we'll get to those first. Right now, Southeast at United has been canceled. We will also have cancellations from Champion and Ursuline. That has been canceled. Lakeview at Austintown Fitch has been canceled for tomorrow as well. Right now, the game that is still on as of now and on the network tomorrow will be Hoover. Take a breath. Hoover at Boardman. That is going to be a 12 o'clock start, and I will be there if it happens. So we will keep up to date on that in the next 24 hours, see if we can get baseball and softball up on the air tomorrow. If not, Monday's weather looks a lot better. So we're looking for a Monday softball, baseball start if we can't get them in over the weekend. On that note, I will end this episode of Running Point. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I want to thank Jeff DeRose for giving us his time and letting us get a good solid season preview of South Range softball. And I want to thank our sponsor, Greenwood Chevrolet, for another day where they continue to believe in Running Point and everything that we do at YSN. So with that being said, I'm Anthony Hartwig. Enjoy your weekend. Watch a lot of basketball. And if softball and baseball happen tomorrow, make sure to tune in. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find it. And we will be back on Monday for another episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.